Happy Friday. Hope everyone's doing really well today. Well done for another amazing week of virtual learning. You're doing really, really well with your virtual learning. I know it's not easy and you're all working so incredibly hard. So let's do one final day today and then you can have a break for the weekend. So let's start by rounding some numbers to the nearest 10. So we're going to have a look at the magic rule for rounding numbers to the nearest 10, and then you're going to have a go at making some numbers and rounding them as best you can. So first of all, we're going to write the numbers out along the top of the page here. I'm just going to make my numbers a little bit bigger. So we're going to write the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, now when we are rounding, we need to remember there are a couple of golden rules. I'm just going to put red in, sorry, 5 in red, just to remind us. So if we have a number that ends in 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the units column, then we are going to be rounding it down to the 10 that comes before it. If we have numbers that end in 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then we have to round those numbers up to the next 10 that we have been given. So this number here on my number line would in fact be 0, and this number here on my number line would in fact be 10. And these are the numbers that we are looking to round to. They need to be rounded to a tens number, which has a 0 in it for the units. Okay, so let's start by saying if I had picked and rolled the number 6, then I would be rounding 6 to 10. If I had rolled my dice and I had been given number 8, then I would in fact be rounding it to number 10. If I roll my dice and got the number 2, then I would in fact be rounding it down to 0. Okay, that is how our rounding works. So let's have a look at this number. So I have got the number 33. Okay, now 33 ends in the number 3. So straight away, I know I need to round it down. I just need to choose which 10 I am going to round it down to. So it's either going to be 0, 10, 20, or 30, because they are the 10s that come before 33. So the 10 that is closest to 33 is 30. So I would round my 33 down to 30. Okay. Now, this time when I roll my dice, I get the number 36. Now, 36 ends in 6. So I know from my rule up here that number 6 needs to be rounded up. I'm not going to round it up to 10 because my number is a lot bigger than 10. It's 36, so it needs to be rounded to the next 10 along. If I count 37, 38, 39, 40, it needs to be rounded to 40. Okay, so huge well done for having a look at those numbers. So I'm going to write some numbers for you, and you're going to have a go at seeing if you can round those numbers to the nearest 10. So have a go at rounding these numbers that you can see at the bottom to the nearest 10. Remember, it needs to be a tens number that ends in 0. So for the next part of our lesson, we're going to have a look at sorting shapes based on different criteria. So we're going to have a look at trying to sort out all of these shapes here into a category. So some of them might not fit into these categories, and that's fine. They can stay on the outside of our box. So the idea is that we look at the two categories that I've been given here, and we're going to see if we can fit some of these shapes into those categories. So this category here says 4 sides. So the only shapes that can go in this box here are 4-sided shapes. To work out if it's a 4-sided shape, we just have to count them. So let's start with this purple shape here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know the purple shape is not 4 sides, it's actually more than 4 sides because it's 5. let's put the number 5 on there, and then we remember how many sides that shape has got. So let's have a look at the next shape. We've got a rectangle here, so it's got 1, 2, 3, 4. So in fact, that one can go into my 4-sided shape. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. It's another rectangle, it's just slightly narrower. So it's got 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to slide that one into there. Then let's have a look at the next shape. So it looks like a diamond, but actually it's not mathematically a diamond. It's a square that's being turned on its side. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides again. So it needs to go into this side of the shape. Now we come to quite a tricky shape here. So this here is a circle. Now a circle has one continuous side. So it hasn't got 4 sides and it hasn't got more than 4 sides. So in fact our circle doesn't fit on our sorting diagram today. Let's have a look at the next one. So we've got a square. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides to my square. So let's pop that in there. Then we've got a triangle. Now again, a triangle has 3 sides. So a triangle doesn't fit in the category of 4 sides, but it also doesn't fit in the category of more than 4 sides. So I'm going to put that one over here. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. So we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4-sided shape. So that can go into this criteria. Now the oval, again, doesn't fit our criteria because it's one continuous side. So we can put that one over here. Let's have a look at this shape. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. So it doesn't fit in this box. It actually fits in this box. Again, let's write on the number 5 so we know how many sides it's got. Let's have a look. This is a different type of triangle, so that just needs to go down here because it's a 3-sided shape, not 4 or 5. And finally, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a 6-sided shape, which is more than 4 sides, and that would go in this criteria. So it's really important to be able to sort shapes based on different criteria. So let's have a little look then. We've got some shapes here that have been sorted. So let's have a go at labelling each group. So here we have got a mixture of circles and ovals. And here we've got a square, a triangle, a rectangle, and a pentagon. So I think that the 2 categories that I'm going to give these shapes are, let's just make it a little bigger so that we can see our shapes. So I'm going to give this side here a label that says, oh, maybe a little bit smaller than that label. A 1-sided shape, and on this I'm going to put more than 1 side. Okay, so we can see that we have sorted out our shapes to more than 1 side and just 1 side. So head back to the website and have a go at sorting shapes and see if you can come up with some different criteria. Have fun and happy Friday!